I do not like sister location.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
So, at the time of recording this video, I just got back from watching Uhyeah's hour-long video on why he doesn't like sister location. And I have some opinions. In all seriousness, Uhyeah's video is really good, and I suggest you take a look at it when you have the time, if you haven't already. He does bring up good points about the weaknesses of the game. I just wanted to respond to his video and give my insight on why I actually believe sister location, despite its faults, is quite good, and it doesn't deserve the hate that it gets. Now, sister location is not my favorite game. That title goes to Help Wanted. However, I feel the multiple gripes with sister location are unjustified, and I'm going to defend what is possibly the most influential game in the franchise. It basically transitioned us into the modern Fnaf scene we see today, for better or worse. But Mike, you may say, how exactly are you going to address the hour-long video in 8 minutes? Well, I'm mainly going to address the parts I had trouble with in relation to Uhyeah's video. Uhyeah's review of the game goes in depth and breaks down sister location for people who have not played the game before. I'm just going into this assuming people have either watched his video or have played or are familiar with sister location already. There are mainly two sections I wanted to tackle in this video, those being gameplay and then the story. However, it would be wrong to interpret these sections separately, as these two important parts of every video game are deeply intertwined within one another in sister location, and is why I actually think this game is very good. So as a whole, I can understand why people don't like the gameplay of sister location. It is very different from the other Fnaf games, and I can see how some parts can be boring, like the vent sections, or overly difficult, like the spring lock suit. However, I actually think the game design is really good, even if it is the weakest part of this particular entry. One thing that Uhyeah did in his video is that he gave his thoughts on every minigame in the entire experience, which isn't in and of itself bad, but I feel like it shed an improper light to the actual content you have here. I don't think picking apart each part of the game really makes them shine. Some of the ideas of animatronic and establishment maintenance are present in stuff like Help Wanted, and I feel like everyone can agree that those were great. So it confuses me as to why people dislike it here. It's basically the same thing, except in a much earlier state. The minigames are also meant to serve the story, and as such, while the minigames might be similar, you are constantly switching between the multiple playstyles to get tasks done. While I can get why this can be annoying, I actually think this is very smart because it constantly keeps us on our toes. It's supposed to be a horror game, and changing things up to keep us alert can really help with the scariness of the game stay consistent. And to be honest, that makes sense. I feel like ever since FNAF 3, every single entry that Scott made to the FNAF franchise has tried to address something that was lacking in the previous game. In fact, that type of fact is kind of common knowledge and can apply to sister location. In FNAF 3, the jump scares weren't great, and with Scott feeling bad, FNAF 4 gave us great jump scares which we couldn't predict were coming. However, FNAF 4 had the most confusing story out of the whole series, until Security Breach came out. So Scott made this game which basically has the clearest story out of any game released thus far, and in order to do that, he incorporated it into the gameplay rather than it being a reward for beating the game. But everyone said gameplay was lacking, so then he made Pizzeria Simulator, which had the perfect balance of story and gameplay, but wasn't all that polished. But I mean, hey, it's free, and FNAF World kinda just happened. Honestly, it surprises me that people dislike the story this game holds. Like, it's the most cohesive story out of any game he has ever released, and it actually adds to the tension. These aren't just animatronics going haywire, these are actual killing machines, and the gameplay forces us to get up close and personal with them on multiple occasions, something that doesn't happen nearly as often in any of the other games. They even actively plot against you, and you even get backstabbed. or front stabbed in the true ending of the game. You get scooped. You people will complain about these animatronics being too advanced and whatnot, but then forget the toy animatronics have facial recognition installed, connected to a criminal database. In 1987. Like, yeah, sister location is more blatant with it, but don't act like advanced technology wasn't a thing already. These robots have always been over-engineered. Now, I will acknowledge that there is a bit of bias on my part. I honestly dig the aesthetic of sister location, being futuristic and high-tech and stuff, maybe even a bit too much to its detriment. But I feel like we are finally exposing the underbelly of the entire Fnaf franchise here. All of the smokes and mirrors are being torn down and we are being shown the truth, both about the animatronics and their founders. There is a lot of lore stuff here that stems from the game, and we all wanted answers, and a lot of parts of them are here. I don't understand how people think this game jumped the shark. Honestly, I feel like Fnaf 4 jumped the shark when it was introducing the nightmare animatronics and the new lore stuff that we are still trying to figure out today. Not saying Fnaf 4 is bad, but like this confirms that the golden Fredbears were surveillance devices. It proves that William Afton was not beyond experiments. And if we delve into speculation territory, taking from the books as reference, the Funtime animatronics may just be the nightmares. The twisted animatronics from the books have sound manipulation devices which make them look like monsters. Monsters which very much look like nightmare animatronics. And they basically function in the same way the Funtimes work. How can they not be related? I know the Funtime animatronics did eventually make their way into the book series as well, I'm aware of that. But like again, not everything is like one-to-one. So we can probably speculate that they're basically the same thing in these games. I know it's speculation, but like this game makes a lot of stuff make more sense in this crazy mess we call a story. I will admit, I don't like the dream theory, and this game is basically the strongest evidence against it. I'm more of a these games are actually games in the security breach universe guy. But the idea that none of this works in the grand scheme of the Fnaf timeline is absurd. It's the most concrete piece of story we have. The only part of the gameplay and story I don't think fits super well is the minigame where you are in the Springlock suit. Aside from the fact that this shit is super hard, it also doesn't really fit into the story of the game, or even the universe. So first off, this is a Springlock suit that has a faceplate of a Funtime animatronic. Okay, why though? There's no clear distinction as to who this suit is even meant to resemble. It can't be Spring Bonnie or Fredbear because those are clearly different headwise. This is either just a weird oversight by Scott or some sort of prototype suit that they kept in storage. These animatronics were abandoned in this bunker, so I wouldn't be surprised that there may be other things in here. Uhyeah also stated he didn't like the humor of this game. Like, really? This game is where Fnaf humor started if we disregard like Fnaf World. Like no doubt memes existed, however the longest standing memes in the series stem from this game. Heck, no matter what you say, Exotic Brothers is great. This announcer honestly makes the game scariest in my opinion, especially when it's the least convenient. It's often trying to downplay the situations you are in, and it's an obvious attempt to cover up the fact that you are in constant danger, even if it's failing to do so. One of the most tense and perfectly executed minigames is Bellora's minigame, where you have to sneak past her in the ballroom. First, the hand unit tells you to bolt past the area, which Baby tells you not to, but then when you are crawling, heck, maybe you have even seen Bellora spinning past you already. Hand unit yells at you and basically almost reveals your location in a hilarious but terrifying way. What I find often people miss is that the gameplay is specifically designed this way for a reason. The game is the story, and it should be viewed as more like a story-driven experience like a Telltale game. Sure, there aren't many options, very few actually, but you are interacting with the environment in a much more prominent way than you do in most other Fnaf games, and your actions, if maybe guided, do lead to major consequences which ripple through the rest of the Fnaf series. There could be ways to improve it. There is game here. So that's why I feel like this game is an underrated gem. It has a lot of character, alright gameplay, and depicts an amazing world for the players to behold. While I disagree with Uhyeah's opinion on the game, I respect them nonetheless. People have their preferences, and I know people will always value gameplay over story. I'm usually like that myself, but I hope I can maybe convince you that Sister Location is a much better game than others may let on. Besides, what other game canonically replaces you with an animatronic?
Hello, thank you for watching. Hello, thank you for watching. Hello,
What?
thank you for watching.
Who's
Hello,
that?
thank you for
Who's
watching.
that? I did
Hello,
not-
thank you for watching. Hello,
I don't like
thank you
this.
for
I did
watching.
not sign
Hello,
off on
thank you for
this.
watching. Hello,
Did you
thank
put
for
this in the
watching.
script?
Hello,
Who did
thank you for
this?
watching. Hello,
This is
thank you for
creeping me
watching.
out.
Hello, thank
Get
you
it
for
out of
watching.
here.
Hello, thank you for watching.
Get it
Hello,
out of
thank you
here.
for
I am
watching.
scared.
Hello, thank you for watching.
Exile.